And finally tonight, the show must go on Untitled.mov.
Should we do a show? What do you reckon? Hello and welcome to Untitled.mov. Unfortunately, Corey is dead, so it's just me. Although I am joined by some guests.
Hello, how are you doing, Joey?
I'm not too bad. How are you? I'll explain in a second why I'm not using my ThinkPad currently, but my Surface is just...
Oh, that's good.
We're going to go to Gallery Cam in a second.
Now, you'll notice...
Are we on Gallery Cam?
No, it will be on TV.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain why we're flapping around. It is because today is a completely automatic Untitled. I should clarify, by completely automatic, I mean we still have to manually say things.
Yes.
But currently, Surface is just not... yes, currently, in 5 seconds' time, we're going to cut to the gallery, and you're going to see that no one's in there.
Whoa,
there is literally no one in the gallery. That is live. You just have to trust me. All of the people that were in the gallery are currently behind the cameras. So
I think this is one of my favourite things we've ever done on Untitled.
it's amazing. So assuming it's still working, currently there is a laptop, my ThinkPad, sitting on the side by the sound desk. It is plugged into a small sound desk that I've shown on here before, my personal sound desk. And it is polling the inputs from that sound desk to check the volume levels. And what we've done is we've patched each mic input, each one of these that you two are holding and I've got in front of me, we've patched those directly out the back into my desk so that I can essentially use my desk to monitor levels. You can do it at the 32. We were on a time crunch, and it already worked on my desk.
So there's no vision mixer.
So yeah, no
Your
vision
software
mixer.
is doing the vision.
Every time I speak into this mic specifically, in theory, given a 5-second delay or whatever it is, because it takes the volumes over a period of time and works out an RMS and then an average. And if the average of my mic is higher than your mic and above a threshold, it will switch to me. And then if the average is above a threshold and higher than me on either of your mics, it'll switch to you. Then if none of them are above the threshold, it'll cut to the wide.
And then audio is just on auto-mix?
Yes, we usually do that anyway. But yeah, the X32 currently set to auto-mix. It'll set our levels, so if we all yell at the same time, it'll take us all down.
But then what's really interesting is our VTs and our stills.
Yes.
Marks has done some
So
real
Marks,
wizardry.
yes,
Oh, here they come.
Marks, come on.
Hello.
So, yeah, you've also done a bit of coding.
I have. Basically, what's kind of happening is we use a piece of software called OnTime to keep us on time. Now, normally on this show, it has mixed success because we just kind of ignore it. But not this time, because this time I have programmed OnTime to interface with yet another piece of software. We use BitFocus Companion, which you may have seen at the very beginning when we pressed the button on the Stream Deck label Do Untitled.
I should have clarified. I am not using Python to control the ATEM because that was effort. I'm using Python to interface with Companion. So Marks and I are both polling Companion.
Yes.
Very
Basically, I've programmed OnTime to, at the correct point, trigger a Companion event, which will do things like press a button, which will eventually do things like play a VT or advance slides. Which means if we run behind on the show, we don't have a choice because the show's going with us. Speaking of which, we're about 2 minutes behind on open source project of the week.
On that note, I have 1 minute and 50 seconds to talk about open source project of the week. This week, the open source project is Jellyfin. Now, Jellyfin is an open source media server. It is Dockerized, which I love. It allows hardware encoding, and it also polls services like IMDb to get metadata for the videos you upload. Now, I have a large DVD collection. Big fan of Top Gear. I have a lot of Top Gear DVDs, so I've ripped them all onto my server, and they're all there. I also download every episode of Untitled. That is on my Jellyfin. I can watch that there. If you're the type to partake in the 7 Cs, you could put your Linux ISOs on there, although I'm not endorsing that. I have all my DVDs at home. So, yeah, that's Jellyfin. I probably sped through that a bit too quick.
That's
Well,
fine.
You've got a minute.
a nice
Well,
thing
unfortunately,
about-
we can't cut to VT early.
we can't.
Because the timings for this entire show are completely out of our hands.
Well,
Hence
the-
why the
the nice
episode is
thing-
called The Show Must Go On.
the nice thing about Jellyfin, though, is it has taught me a lot about encoding. So I've started to play with QuickSync.
Hardly knowing.
I've started to play with Intel's QuickSync on their CPUs. It's really good. I'm surprised we don't just stream off QuickSync on everything. I mean, we do. We're currently streaming using QuickSync on Playout. Am I right, Marks?
That is correct.
Yeah, so it's so powerful. My Surface Pro, this thing that won't even turn on currently, this could encode to VP9 from MPEG-2 10 times the speed of the video, whereas my NVIDIA GTX card was sitting there at about 2, and it also couldn't encode to VP9.
I've just noticed on Cameron's laptop that the category of this show on YouTube, well, A, I've noticed that it's not cut, there we go, it's cut to me, and B, I've noticed the category of the show on YouTube is set to comedy.
Yeah, there's a large delay.
I think that's appropriate.
Also, just quickly, we're now going to have a look at 60SM.
No, that was the intro cue. You've got another 26 seconds to introduce the VT.
Sorry, I've never paid attention.
That is beautiful television.
I've never paid attention to on time before, so I've got it up on my phone, but it hasn't been formatted well. And that one doesn't have the.
Well,
20.
anyway, as we know, you're running for UC president, right?
Yes, JB Parker East is, yeah.
Yep. And early this week, like all the other candidates, you filmed, your
Filmed the
60-second
60SM.
manifesto.
So we're going to have a
look.
quick look at my manifesto points in the 60SM. Hello, I am Jamie Parker East and I am running for USU President. Now, I have a manifesto. First point, I would like to demolish East Campus and replace it with a multi-storey car park. Next up, we should move all student media to Central Hall. AV don't need the equipment. I believe very strongly in this point. We need to replace the first bus contract with a second bus contract, which should be further subcontracted to third bus. Next up, I believe very strongly in this one, we need to build Charlie Jeffrey a second ensuite. That is very important. Fourth, we should stock Fanta and ice cream in all USU venues. And I believe we need to campaign to get all managed PCs on campus to run Arch, bro, and have Fortnite installed. Next up, Courtyard Weirdo Oven must go in the lake. And finally, we need to build a wall between Courtyard and Derwent. So that was my 60-second manifesto recorded here at Wise TV. I think there's some very potent points there, Cameron.
Absolutely, and we've got a behind-the-scenes look at all the recording and your whole campaign that will be coming out soon.
Yes, we have a serious documentary about my
Yes, very serious.
upcoming campaign. So, now we're going to move on to the news. First up, as you can see, I forgot we added images. That took me off guard. We're talking about Apple and sideloading. Now, Cameron, you're our Apple correspondent.
Yes.
Yes, would you like to chat a bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we know, the EU have brought in the Digital Markets Act, the DMA, that has imposed some regulations in the EU for what platforms like Apple can and can't do.
Yes.
And so Apple previously announced that they'd be introducing other third-party app stores and things like that.
Yep.
But now they've kind of made the biggest announcement of all, that you will be able to download apps from the web. Now, as you might expect from Apple, this comes with some terms and conditions, so you still have to have an Apple developer account in good standing for, I think, 2 years,
Yeah,
which
you've
neatly
got
rules
to be an
out Epic
authorized
Games.
developer, I believe is the phrase they use.
Yes, yeah. And so, and you will still have to pay what they call the core technology fee.
Yeah, I've just...
So this is not completely free distribution, but it is web-based distribution. And they've also announced that developers will be able to offer app marketplaces that just offer their own apps. Previously, that wasn't allowed. So, there's continued progress towards making iOS free and more open.
They've still decided, though, if you leave the EU with a phone, you have to, after like 2 months, you then have to go back for it to keep those. Was that, I can't remember, and I don't have the source to back this up, but I believe the case was if you left the EU for more than 2 months, you then couldn't update these third-party apps.
Updating the gallery, I'm just hearing people running around trying to keep this ridiculous show on the
What
air.
are they running around doing? It should be automatic.
Ah, good.
Causing problems. Okay, Mark's, I think, is just staring at computers, probably.
I'm assuming that phones need to have their country set to an EU country.
No, I think it's physical location.
Is
by
it?
the sounds of things. Because
Interesting.
a lot of people were complaining about it. And yeah, if you're in the US market or outside of the EU, it doesn't really affect you. Because Apple have been, with the USB-C, they decided to do it everywhere, but now they're...
But the precedent has been set now that if other places start to bring in similar regulation,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
no longer have the same excuse that on a technical level it's not possible.
Precisely. So, now we're going to move on to
Some more
AI
regulation.
regulation. I believe that this is more EU regulations. They've put a lot on technology recently, for better or for worse. And this one is Europe's world first AI rules get approval from lawmakers. Our source currently is AP, whatever that is.
The Associated Press.
I'm clearly not that clued in. But yeah, the general gist of it is that there's been a final approval to the 27-nation bloc Article Intelligence Law, which essentially regulates AI. It's in the title. But yeah, I don't know much about it, I'm not going to lie. You might be able to tell that just before this, I was trying to get my AutoViz program working and failed to read the news. So someone else has very lovely and very generously made the news for me, but it does mean I have no idea what I'm talking about. Have you got any information?
So it claims to ban things like social scoring systems, predictive policing, things like emotion recognition systems in schools and workplaces, and AI-powered biometric identification.
Except there is an exception to that rule, except for serious crimes like kidnapping or terrorism.
There is,
So the
yeah.
police will still be able to use it for serious crimes like that.
And developers of more general purpose sort of generative AI will have to be more transparent about what they're using to train those models.
Yes. So this was a big thing. A lot of people were saying, copyright infringement, these AI generative tools are scraping images owned by other people and then recreating them. So now people that make those sorts of AI products are now going to have to be really transparent about what they've scraped it from, which should allow people to, if they really want to use this generative AI, they can do it more ethically, type thing.
And there's also a requirement to label deepfake or AI-generated pictures and videos as being manipulated.
I mean, I feel that you can regulate, so you can say that, you can't enforce it.
It is very difficult on a technical level.
That is a very valid point. No one does that. Why are people going to put deepfake? That is a... It's not going to happen.
So
I've
that
put
is
money on it.
expected to pass into law in May or June this year.
Yeah. Now, we're going to head back to Apple. Because recently, this was actually a couple weeks back now, but we never actually spoke about it, despite the fact we talk about Apple a lot. But it's back to our Apple correspondent, Cameron.
again.
It is about the Apple car.
Yeah, so this is a project that's been in development for probably about a decade now.
Yeah, this was announced how long ago?
Well, we've just heard leaks from...
Well, yeah, no, sorry.
about-
Was it ever actually announced, or was it just leaked?
No, this was just a leak from within the team.
Right, okay. Never actually made a proper
The
announcement, but
project-
we knew it. Everyone knew it was there.
Well, the Apple car has been cancelled.
Yes, it is no longer in development. Did Apple ever? Did they make an official statement? Because technically, it was
No,
never
they don't
announced.
talk about unreleased products, so
Oh yeah, of course, very Apple.
But
So
the initial intention with this was to make it kind of a fully self-driving car with no steering wheel or pedals. The interior would feel kind of it was going to be level 5 self-driving. It was going to have like a big TV and really luxurious seating, kind of.
it was going to be very Apple.
It's supposed to feel a bit like being in a private jet. Yeah, agreed.
It was going to be very Apple.
Yeah.
But
And then
they've clearly realised
they
that
had a lot of difficulty making that work. They scaled down their plans to level 2 self-driving, which is comparable to kind of modern Teslas and things like that, and brought back the steering wheel. They've gone through several changes of leadership, and now it is finally cancelled.
Yeah. I mean, I was never planning to buy one, so I don't particularly care. And considering it was never announced.
Oh god, I dread to think. But we've also got a story here that the chip that was going to drive that car was equivalent to 4 M2 Ultras sewn together.
Crikey. So you got to remember, there is more computing power in your mobile phone than there was in the Saturn V rocket.
Yes.
And we're getting
yeah.
to cars. Yeah, that's a very interesting fact. Look it up. But this car, you've got to imagine how much computing this had compared to the Saturn V rocket. It's just insane to think about. Anyway, we're still on Apple. We're going to talk about an operation that was done with the mixed reality headset, or spatial, or whatever Apple calls it. No one cares. But the Apple...
It's a spatial computer.
That's the
everyone.
one.
That's
The Apple Vision Pro was used in surgery. Now, I've had a quick scrape of the article, and I can't actually see what features of the Vision Pro were used in the operation, but there's a lot of images of different surgeons here using the Vision Pro. I imagine maybe I don't know, maybe they've got Safari up checking things, and I don't know, if they get bored they could watch from YouTube. Any ideas?
No, I'm not sure about it. So
I've had a flick.
Been talked about for a long time. HoloLens has been used in this kind of application in the past few years.
Oh, sorry, I have just looked it up. It is it allows nurses and technicians holographic and touch-free access to surgical. They can look at the setup of their equipment. They can look up guides. So previously, if they needed a guide or something, they'd have to, take the gloves off, go. But now, if they need to quickly,
you can see a guide in front of them.
exactly, and because it's all pinch-based, they can have the surgical gloves on, touch-free. They can search things, look through these guides, and by the sounds of things,
genius.
it's been particularly helpful, especially since the Apple Vision Pro has one of the best pass-through cameras of any VR headset in the market currently, as of the 15th of March, 2024. Sorry, we almost went back a decade.
I should point out, while we're on the subject of Vision Pro, there's been a leak from some source code recently suggesting that it's going to come to more countries sooner rather than later because there's support for keyboards in different languages, including British English. So I know we've discussed when it comes out in this country, we're going to take a little trip to our nearest Apple store in Leeds and try it out because
we're
all quite sceptical.
We probably won't be able to record in the store, I would imagine.
But
the plan is
when it comes out in the
The plan is I might wear a lav and we'll stick a camera outside and it'll become a radio show.
Apple Trinity Leeds, you have been warned.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we might have to check regulations and stuff because we got stopped returning a TV in Leeds.
That's true.
It's a long story. We were able to record past a line, so I deliberately recorded right next to that line.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that was the news. There was a lot of I don't know, Apple stuff and things. But we're now going to move back to another VT because I saw the 60SM that was edited. Do you know what? I wasn't happy. It didn't emphasize my campaign enough. So I got on the old graphics machine. I got out Microsoft Paint. And I decided to make my own 60SM. So we're going to have a look at that now. Let's have a look at the VT. It's fine.
And you can just go when you're ready.
Yep. Okay. Can I go?
You can go.
I'm Jamie, and I'm running for USU President. Now, my manifesto points, I believe you'll believe strongly with me as well. First, we need to demolish East Campus and replace it with a multi-storey car park. Not much else is going on over there anyway. Third, we need to replace the first bus contract with a second bus contract. And we need to further subcontract it to third bus. Is it working? Can anyone hear? Can someone put some headphones
we're
on?
live.
We're live, yeah.
Which means we can probably be heard, probably. Well, fingers.
Someone check if we can hear both mics.
Oh, no.
Anyway, do you want to do the interview with the guests?
Yes. So
You've interviewed me a million times.
yeah,
so what
Charlotte, you are our guest today, so you are going
Hey.
to be interviewed with the Untitled Traditional. Someone's opened the stream in the gallery. Can we hear both mics, Dan?
the gallery being in this room.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I should they're all behind the camera. Just
Behind the
chat.
cameras. Ayo.
They're both working. Perfect.
Yippee!
Do you know what I did? The mics were plugged into 72 and 73. I moved them over to 71 and 72.
Good.
Okay.
So, classic patching issue. That might have been me during testing. Anyway, let's go back to the traditional Untitled questions. Do you have a favourite production? Now, this can be URY,
Oh.
because I know you're very heavily involved in URY.
Yeah. Oh dear. I mean, the diplomatic. Since I'm URY program controller, the diplomatic production answer is meant to be all of them. And I've got to say, I have enjoyed every single one I've been involved in, including CIM, which was yesterday. But if I'm going with a regular one, it has to be one of the. I can't pick one, so I'm just going to say all the shows
Yeah.
that I do, which is a lot, but mainly QWERTY and Chats with
Well,
Charlotte.
QWERTY came on to
Yes, we had
Show
QWERTY
Swap.
TV on
Yeah,
Show
you
Swap.
guys played Fortnite in the studio.
Played Fortnite. I have been talking to a certain person about doing more of those because unfortunately YSTV Live is on when I have my flagship show normally, so I can't really move
Fortnite
it.
in the studio again.
Fortnite
Let's
in the
go.
studio
Can
again
I
and
join
more.
this time? I'm not that good at Fortnite.
How many? We can even get 4 people in a team. But we'd love to have as many people
I've
as
never played
possible.
Fortnite.
Let's make a Fortnite tournament
Okay,
with
we're
you up
making
and
Game Night Season 3, Fortnite. Let's go. Anyway,
Oh, no.
yes.
Whoops, all Fortnite season.
Yeah, it's all. That's my.
Do it.
That was my part of my speech, Cameron. It's all got to be Fortnite and running on Arch. Anyway, we're going to move on. Fortnite does not run
Possibly.
on Arch, no. Anyway, that's for someone else to figure out, not me. I'm the talent. Next up, the next question we tend to ask is, what was your favourite bodge? So,
Favorite bodge? Okay, I'm not a techie, but I have an answer for this one.
yeah.
URY broadcasting from YSTV's office after our election.
That was a very good
That
bodge.
was a great bodge. I was just sat in there at 1 a.m. just vibing with you, Cassie, Cameron, a couple other people. No one knew we were doing a show. We just did it while everybody else went and did everybody else stuff. But broadcasting to URY from YSTV's office was hilarious.
We've done it a surprising amount of times.
And it's concerning, but
The
also great.
X32 is actually quite a good broadcast desk, which is somewhat ironic
Believe it
because
or
we
not.
broadcast using it every week.
Never.
But for radio as well, it's surprisingly decent.
Fair
Now,
enough.
I'm conscious that I did not warn you of this, so the answer's probably no.
Yeah.
But do you have a show and tell item?
No. Because
Yeah,
you
that
didn't
was-
tell me about
That
this.
was to be
do I.
expected.
You-
I always forget to warn my presenter, my
Actually,
guests.
unless you want me to show you my URY program control keycard. Because I have keycard access.
Sure. Yeah, you've just recently been elected to manage
Yeah,
your program
I'm
controller.
management.
So yeah, let's show that. That's your show and tell. Cameron,
That is
that is a key
that
card.
is a keycard
I've
for
lost
why
mine.
URY.
'Cause I'm no longer
No.
an important role on committee. I'm now
I
deputy
plan to
marketing.
continue
You're also on committee,
not
though, yeah.
losing it.
I am still on
That happened
committee.
this week, didn't
Oh
it?
yeah, sorry, we never announced that. I got elected URY's deputy head of marketing,
Marketing.
and then immediately slept through the first marketing meeting.
Great. Well done, Jamie.
I also slept through my tech meeting earlier.
Yep.
So
Get
yeah,
some
my
more
sleep
sleep, Jamie.
schedule's great. Keep checking in with that.
Ta-da.
Do I did bring a show and tell. I just can't remember what it was. I threw something. I'll tell you what. That is a Bluetooth transmitter and receiver.
Why would you need one of those?
Because I've lost my Bluetooth earphones, so I connect wired earphones to them and use them.
Oh.
In fact, I have my wired earphones in my other pocket. So
Earphones set up on steroids.
there we are. I connect that to the
And or a
receiver end,
bodge.
and that's Bluetooth earphones now. Put that in my
Fair
back
enough.
pocket. It can also transmit. You can plug, get a 3.5 mil, 3.5 mil from your phone or a device that doesn't have Bluetooth. Plug it into transmit. Oh, my ears just popped. I can hear now. Sorry, but yeah, and then you can transmit to a Bluetooth. Oh, my ears blocked again. Well, that was short-lived.
Hey.
Yeah, I currently can't hear out my right ear, so that's just great. Anyway, thank you for coming on.
No
and
worries.
thank you for letting us interview you. But next up, you mentioned CIN because we had CIN yesterday.
Yes,
Canada Interview
CIN
Night
was
for URY,
great.
where you guys interview all the candidates. Well, it's in the name, really. And I was sitting in the green room playing silly games with different people.
Can confirm I was also in the green room.
Yeah, I'm just quickly going to rate the games. The best one was tomato in a Tupperware. The worst one was the lizard one. That I felt really bad.
No insulting lizard one.
Anyway, I also did a candidate interview night because I am, of course, a candidate for president. So we're going to have a look at how that went now.
Welcome back. Hello, I'm Cameron Fox, and I'm now joined by Jamie, who is running for Union President. Jamie, welcome to URY.
Thank you.
First of all, please could you introduce yourself and why you're running for the role?
Yes, so I am Jamie Parker East. I'm running for USU President, and I'm running because I believe I can make this university better, and I'm destined for the role. God came upon me one day and said, "You shall be USU President."
Right. Now, you mentioned in your manifesto that if elected, you're going to demolish Campus East to build a multi-storey car park. It's certainly an ambitious policy, but how are you planning to make it a reality, and what benefits do you foresee this having?
Well, first, I'm going to start on the benefits part. The benefits, no one uses East. I believe it's just a detriment to this university. And I feel no one would miss it anyway. And the multi-storey car park can generate lots of revenue for people that park there. Now, the way I see this happening is through bulldozers and big cranes, and lots of them as well. I believe the more of them we can get, the quicker we can knock down those useless buildings, get that car park in there, and make a bit of dosh.
Now, moving on to what you want to spend some of that dosh on, you plan to build Charlie Jeffrey a second ensuite.
Yes.
At a time when many students are really struggling with the cost of living, why do you think this is the best use of university funds?
Well, first of all, this cost of living crisis, it's affecting everyone, including Charlie. Okay? So you've got to remember, Charlie buys his groceries at the same shops, or in the same place as everyone. Maybe not the same shops. He's probably a fan of Waitrose, but he buys his stuff, and stuff at Waitrose is getting more expensive as well. It's not just Aldi like the commoners. So prices are increasing for him too. He may struggle to afford a second ensuite. So I feel for more efficient use of university resources, he should really get that second ensuite. I think it's very important.
Right, now, you mentioned that you want to install Arch on all campus PCs.
Yes.
What desktop environment do you plan to use?
This I feel very strongly for. It's GNOME, and if anyone suggests KDE, I'm going to fucking kill them.
Apologies for any language you might have just heard there.
It was warranted, I feel. GNOME. It's going to be GNOME.
All right. I see here you also plan to throw the Courtyard Weirdo oven in the lake. Cool. You also want to rename the Computer Science Department to the Ordinary Department. What benefits do you expect this to have for students?
Well, this one is quite logical if you think about it, actually, because the majority of students coming out of that department have ordinary degrees, and I feel the Ordinary Department just makes more sense.
Right. Now, another point on your manifesto is that you want all USU venues to start stocking Fanta and ice cream.
Yes.
Have you considered also serving Tango and Twister ice lollies?
Is that Tango ice lollies or Tango the drink?
That's Tango the drink.
Right, okay. Tango the drink, I feel it's probably more cost effective than Fanta. It's less common, and I specifically chose Fanta in my manifesto because it was previously stocked. I feel it's more attainable. But Fanta, Tango, it's just as good. It works, and I would be more than happy. But the Twister, I actually feel would be probably fine, but I do prefer some ice cream.
Cool. And moving on now to perhaps your most controversial policy, building a wall between Courtyard and the rest of Derwent.
Yes,
Would you care to elaborate on that at all?
Well, yes, of course. So, first of all, the wall needs to be built, because we can't have Derwent people coming into Courtyard and just making a muck. Oh. Excuse me, sorry, it's Kirsten. Hello? Yes, dear. No, I'm on the radio.
Jamie.
Canada interview night.
Jamie.
No, I can talk for a bit.
No.
No.
God's sake.
So, what you need to do is push it really hard. No, you won't be able to do that. No. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No? Okay, well, life support machines don't really work like that. Anyway, I've got to go. Bye-bye. Where'd Cameron go?
And that was CIN.
That's quite fun.
I got interviewed by a lovely chap at the URY. He did walk out, but I'll live. Anyway,
Got debate night coming up, don't you?
yes, that's in future stuff, Cameron.
Skipping
But I
ahead.
have got. Do you know what? We'll do it in the wrong order. We're being forced to stick to a schedule, so let's ignore it. We have got debate night coming up tomorrow. So if you want to watch YSTV Live, we'll be doing debate night where we have debates with all the candidates. I'm going to be there.
Yep, that is live from the Roger Kirk Centre from 6 p.m. It's
Exactly.
going to be really exciting.
I'm looking forward
Have
to it.
fun.
But anyway, let's talk about the past week now. What have we been up to? Well, in terms of tech and my personal technology, great, we've got metal falling sound. I have a OnePlus 7T Pro limited edition phone. Now, I had a bit of an issue where I have swipe gestures. Oh, it's low on charge. I have swipe gestures where I have to swipe up and do things. They didn't work, and I was permanently locked in game mode. I couldn't get out of any app. And to swap apps, I had to scroll down the dock, press settings, go to app management, search an app, press open. It was such a pain that I actually brought out my old phone. This is my old phone that I put Lineage OS onto. So it's a de-Googled Android, essentially. And I mainly use this to download Jellyfin stuff and watch content on so that I don't waste battery on this. The issue is I suddenly had to use it as my main daily driver. And that was less than ideal. But I was able to fix the phone. Would you like to know how I did it?
How?
I had to clear the storage and cache on my launcher, the system launcher.
Right.
So what that means is, this is all different now. I had to rechange my background, which is now Mark's. I had to re-put all my apps back where they were. Some of them still aren't in the right place. You know, sometimes I'll go, oh, I want YouTube, and I click photos and go, hang on, those two are the wrong way around. So I'm still kind of trying to get it back to where it was. All my personalization was deleted. Nothing important, but it's just a pain.
That's good.
But on the other side, it did default to a really nice color scheme that I actually like. So
Oh, that's
kinda,
nice.
I'm leaving it on
Silver
that.
linings.
But yeah, so this phone can once again, I deleted all the apps I had to install when it was my daily driver. It's now back to just my de-Googled phone where I've disabled the App Store and Google Play services.
Thanks.
Great. Marx is just, I think Marx is going on a tyrannical rage. Anyway, future stuff. Already spoken about debate
We've
night.
got a big week coming up, don't we?
We have
just you.
indeed. In fact, this week we have, let's go from Thursday. Well, actually, let's start tomorrow. We have Tag Across York first, where I'm going to be playing tag, and I don't really know the rest of it. But that's kind of the idea, I guess. Then after that, we have Jamie Does Pop Culture, where I believe we're recording 2 episodes.
Very nice.
In between, there is also some documentary filming. Or is it Top of the Class? I can't remember.
Yeah, documentary.
Documentary
We've got
filming.
One Dice on Monday.
One and Dice on Monday.
We've got Touristed filming the first episode of season 3.
Taurus did a
Got
bat.
one titled Og on the radio.
Yeah,
And then
Untitled.org.
next
check it out.
Thursday, we have Battle of the Bands.
Yes, we have 4 days of absolute hell. On Thursday, we have Battle of the Bands in Fulford Arms. At the same time as YSTV Live in this studio. That's
First
Thursday.
time ever it will not
Ever
be
on a
Friday.
Thursday. So check us out Thursday next week. Then on the Friday, we have...
Election
let me get
results
this the
night.
right way around. We have ERN, Election Results Night, where we're all going to be there. Then on the Saturday, we have
Fight Night.
Fight Night. I struggled there.
And then Undergrad will be filming season 2.
Undergrad start filming as well.
Easter, so lots coming up.
So,
and
a week from
got
hell,
something
a
exciting
load
coming
of
up on the
stuff in a
radio.
row.
We're doing a collab with LSR tomorrow.
Oh, yes, URY have a
Have fun with
collab with LSR.
Thanks. I'm going to be producing. Super excited. Looking forward to working with some people from Leeds to York. 88.3 FM. Yes, I'm plugging it on YSTV.
I mean, go for it. I plugged YSTV on URY.
Listen to
And
Chester
speaking of, we've got
Charlotte.
20 seconds
Friday,
if you wanna
7
plug
p.m.
it.
Yes, we are going to be cut off now. So thank you very much for watching Untitled. I've been Jamie.
I've been Cameron.
I've been Charlotte.
Follow us on Twitter. I did post there earlier today. YSTV Tech, YSTV Computing, and just YSTV and URY as well. I don't know what their handles are. And I don't have time to
1350.
explain. It's not. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.